Hello, everyone. I am Danny here, and today I'm going to continue my series on Microsoft Accessibility Insights. Today we're going to explore the difference between the four big categories and differences between those things. But why not checking the website on accessibility? So, I open Accessibility Insights for Web. And to show the difference, I start with a fast pass. A fast pass is the thing that shows the most things that you can see automated. So let's say you are building your project, you are doing some changes. What are the things that you can see very fast in the code? By example, if there is an image without an alternative text, that's something that you can really do simply. It's like having your loved linter if you're working with linters. And so that's what the thing is. It's also test on tab stops. So here you can start tabbing to the application and you can see if there a logical or illogical order. That's one of the things. The fast pass. To open the view, you just go to hover in your taskbar to your browser, and then you see the accessibility insights for web. And then you really need to say what works and what doesn't work. So it's depends. The tab stops depends on your trust. You need to say if it's working or not. This is a thing that is not automated. So you can say if there's a pass or a fail. Um, and the other thing is, let's just say first, let's just do a mix. You will see later why I'm doing this. And the other thing is needing a review. There's a thing that's needing a review. Let's say it sees in the code, it might be wrong, but I am not 100% sure it is wrong. For example, here the color contrast we will need to test. Because here is a logo, for example, for that we need to test if there is a color contrast issue or not. And it says what to do. And again, we're going to deeper into it later. But what does the fast pass very fast test that you can also while doing in development, by example, changing a color, is it accessible right now or not? And then you see that already the Microsoft Accessibility Insight is closed, but you still see those landmarks, the inaccessible things that are hovered. What you need to do is just refreshing your browser and those lines will disappear. Let's go to buy tickets, click on Microsoft Accessibility Insights again, click on FastPass. And here you see already there is you can click on it. I can minimize that view and it will show where it is. So here it is showing that the color contrast between the white text on that orange is too low. Maybe you are asking why does it see it here but why it doesn't see it on the home page? Because here it is a very typical technical form. It's just a hard coded or a coded form to complete a booking. So it's all code. There are no nuances. And then it can measure the color contrast. If you go to the home page, here are way more nuances. For example, here is a background gradient. That's one of the reasons for seeing it without checking it, it is way more nuanced. So this is the fast pass, very short. Not completely, but you see what is there and what it shows, what it doesn't shows. Then you also have the quick assess, and the quick assess is doing 10 assisted checks to find out more. And if you do it well, it will take you 30 minutes and you see the majority of things that are going wrong. It's something that you can do before you commit, before you're doing An official request, for example, you want to show it to a customer, you want to validate with users. This is the best way to do a quick assess. Then you are seeing that this already a little bit more complicated. You are seeing more windows. There need to be more work to do. You also have your progress bar. And to get started, we are going to start with the automated test. And you see here on the home page. And this is the same automated test that is in the FastPass. Go to keyboard navigation, and you have your visual helper if you want this. And so you can tap. And in addition to your visual helper, it is already really saying what you need to do very clear. So you need to use tab, but also shift tab to see if you can navigate to everything. Um, if there are keyboard traps. A keyboard trap is when you are trapped. So you are starting to navigate, and maybe it can be a form within a form that your keyboard can't escape that subform. If you can't escape that subform, this is a keyboard trap. So you need to test it very extensively, and then so you can say if it's working or if it's not working. Passing, failing, and is explaining why it is important. The same for links, you need to do some tests for images, for focus order, UI components, heading level. So all tests you need to do. It's already saying here, showing most important thing, and then you can say if it's working, if it's not working. So it's adjusted to your web page. It's not a test from a blanco. Let's say it's not a test from a starter file. It is really adjusted to your application, to your page. Um, okay, let's say close the accessibility insights and open it again to go to see the difference. And this is assessment. And the assessment is a very assessment where you need to also have knowledge on accessibility, and of course we will work on this vlog. And then you can really also, so you can save it to work in multiple editions, so you can continue it over time, and you can also export it, and then you can really create an accessibility report, an official report to show that you are compliant and to ask for compliance, or to prove that your website is accessible and you are caring about accessibility. And if you live in Europe, this can be mandatory in the future. This will be mandatory in the future due to the European Accessibility Act. For that reason, businesses will be required to build accessibility, and then they will need to prove it that they are doing it. And a way of proving is really showing your full assessments that you know it is accessible, and then you can prove it, you can state it. You also can have a website showing at the bottom, having a page really saying our accessibility statement: this is accessible, this is not accessible, and then you can link to that report. The other category is ad hoc tools. Ad hoc tools are small tools to test on accessibility, and this is really something doing in development. So you are changing some code, you are changing a color, a place, then will be able to test it very quick and change it and refresh the page and do it again. For example, if you show color, for example, here it is everything in grayscale, black and white, and the reason is that is what people at monochromacy see. Monochromacy is a form of color blindness where people only see black and white and the tints in between. So this is how it looks for a person with monochromacy. Is it visible? Everything readable? You can test your landmarks. Yeah, so the big parts of your site. You have your accessible names. More about it later. So you can have accessible names. These are the assistive tools used. Assistive tools are like screen readers or other special input assistants for people who cannot work with mice and keyboard headings. So you can test your heading order by example. This is the other part, the fourth big part. This is one of my sites. I also have my Dreaming is Believing site that we can test on accessibility. So we can test the theme with a go back with a FastPass, zero failed instances. To start, I need to do the top stop and I need to do the review, and I can do the quick assess here. I can start a new one. So this was I to do, and I also have a new demo devices, and this page is a little bit more interactive. So we will use it also to do my demos on this channel, and I may even expand that application. But the expanded application, the pure vibe coding, I can't call it programming, well, not being something I will do, at least not in the beginning on this channel. We are focusing on accessibility. But what is important, this is a little bit interactive, so I can search and stimuli. It's nothing with stimuli. I have sensory, all the things to do with sensory, and that website is very funny, but I already see it in my with my just with my eye that this the color contrast is going to be bad. Yeah, if you're working a lot on accessibility and when you're really seeing it, you can't unsee it anymore. That's something really uh, sometimes a curse, sometimes a blessing, like most things in life. So this is one of these sites, also not public. As I said, I vibe coded it. I didn't test everything. I didn't fact check everything if I agree with it, but also something I will do in future. This might be on this channel because neurodiversity is also something that I'm going to work on. So these are the tests that you can do. Also here you can do a full assessment. So these are the four big categories on accessibility insights for web. Are the headings right here? We can test all the things. But heading is important, for example, that that you don't skip heading. So you shouldn't go to in from an H1 to an H3 without an H2. So here is already wrong. So here, if I test it, I should say wrong because we have an H1 and we don't have an H2. So we are going from H1 to H3. If we would put this one under the H2, it wouldn't be wrong. What we do here, by example, is having a new heading. If you want this in small tips, by example, tips and tricks, and if we add here tips and tricks, here where my mouse is tips and tricks, under H2, then this is allowed to have in H3. So these are some examples that we are going to work on. So thank you for watching. This was a longer video, a longer vlog on Microsoft Accessibility Insights for Web, but it's really just the beginning, as you see. Thank you for watching.